good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Toy Story 5, man. Yeah, finally saw the movie, man. Finally saw the movie at the tail end of its theatrical run. It seems like, man, so we already got the movie confirmed for Blu-ray release, which I will say, steelbook for the film looks fucking incredible, man. That is a goddamn steelbook, man. Incredible work, man. Nope notes. Amazing, amazing steelbook, man. Might honestly get that regardless of my opinions on this film. I might still get them in because that is a beautiful steelbook. Now, you guys know that I was never really someone that was super excited for this film, man. Didn't really pique my interest all that much as a film that I thought was going to be, sensational or something really to write home about. Just from the trailers, man, and then when I actually got to see the last, 30-ish minutes or so of it opening weekend when I was working, I was able to catch I watched for later at the start of my shift at 10 a.m. when I started. I watched the last 40 minutes of the movie because there was nothing else to do. I watched it, and even when I saw the last 40 minutes of the film, it did not, impress me. I enjoyed what I saw, but it wasn't this doesn't really. Even seeing all that didn't make me really holy shit, this is an incredible film. I thought it's good, but it seems like this will easily be the worst Toy Story film. And up to that point, man, obviously, like I said, I wanted to watch the film and think the reviews that come out, people seem to have loved the movie regardless. So I thought, okay, maybe there's more in the 30 minutes or whatever long it was that I missed. That maybe there's an hour, I don't know. That maybe when I take it to the full film in its entirety, it might change my mind. It might end up being one of my favorite Toy Story films, or one that even if it's not my favorite, which it probably won't, I'll still be, screaming from the rooftops that you guys need to go see this film, recommend it to you guys, and say that it's a fantastic film. Well, after watching the film, I can confirm that is not the case, man. This is a damn good movie by itself, by any metric, man, but this is easily the worst Toy Story film. The well has finally run dry for Pixar. Them making unnecessary sequels to Toy Story and it becoming the best film in the series is done. At least for now, unless they do a Toy Story 6 and they can bounce back and recapture that magic. Unless that happens, it is finally done. The well has run dry, man, after 3 and especially 4. It is done. This is easily the worst Toy Story film, man. Easily worse than Lightyear. And you guys know I love Lightyear personally, man. But, I love that film, but that's just me. Anyway, solid film all around. Do not get it twisted. I am not here to tell you that the movie is a bad film by itself. It is a great movie. But by Toy Story standards, man, it's easily the weakest, man. And it's not even close. It's easily the weakest, man. This movie has a lot of good ideas, and there's some stuff in the film that I thought was really good, honestly, that I wish the film focused more on. But what we have, they're not honestly focusing on the whole technology thing. It just did not interest me or get me invested into the film like maybe it did for some people. But like I said, it's still a great movie. I just wasn't really that wowed by it, if I'm being honest. Anyway, guys, so let's jump right in. So the movie's directed by Andrew Satin and stars Joanne Cassax, am I saying their name right? Bad Bunny, which I was kind of curious when I was watching the end credits of Bad Bunny's movie. Yes, he is. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Keanu Reeves, Wallace Shawn, Scarlett Spears, and many more. The plot of Toy Story 5. Buzz, Woody, and Jessie and the rest of the gang face off against with Lily-Pad, a brand new tablet device that arrives with her own disrupted ideas about what's best for Bonnie. Will playtime ever be the same again? So let's talk about this. So let's get into the positive. First of all, man, the cast is great, man. Tim Allen and Tom Hanks are phenomenal as always as Woody and Buzz, man. You guys know how much I love Woody and Buzz. No complaints there. I will say one of the best parts of this movie is Jesse. Jesse gets gets a lot of screen time for this movie, man, and they add a lot of stuff to her character. I can't get too deep into that sort of stuff because obviously it's major spoilers, so we will do a slight spoiler discussion for this at the end of the video, just to cover some stuff that I really like the film and some stuff about the film that I found rather baffling. Bonnie, played by Scarlett Spears. Well, I was actually kind of surprised to find that she is that Bonnie was played by a legit child for Toy Story 5. I believe I would assume it was the same for Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. That was kind of a pleasant surprise because I assumed they just got some, a woman to voice her, man. But no, she's played by an actual little girl, man. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I thought she was great, man. I mean, once again, like with a lot of Pixar movies, at least with like ones like this and Inside Out. Inside Out 2, I think, was a little bit better, if I'm being honest. The human characters are not particularly interesting. Like, they just feel like glorified puppets to the plot, in a sense, man, which I guess maybe in this way they kind of are. But I thought she did a great job with Bonnie's scenes, especially when we see like her trying to make friends and people, and like some of the people that she does meet from like her dance class or whatever, man, don't like her because she still plays with toys and everything, man. I thought she did a great job, man. Like, Bonnie low-key gets thrown through the ringer in this movie, low-key. Like, she gets put through a lot of emotional distress in this film, so I thought she did a great job as Bonnie. The rest of the cast, obviously, from the original films are phenomenal as always, man. But yeah, Tim Allen and Tom Hanks, man, are brilliant as always as Woody and Buzz. Anyway, so once again, I think the CGI is pretty good. Nowhere near as impressive as Toy Story 4. Like I said, the movie looks great, man. The animation is great, man. There's a couple impressive scenes, but there's nothing on par of like the rain scene in Toy Story 4 where it's just like, holy shit, this is fucking incredible. They just don't really flex the technology this time like they did with Toy Story 4 with that rain scene, man, which looked absolutely brilliant for the film, man. But yeah. There's a couple scenes where it does look good and where you can and there was a couple like, oh my god, looks amazing. Once again, dealing with water, like with the army of toy buzzes. I think there's a couple scenes with that, man, that I thought were really impressive with like water, where we got some like reflections in the water and stuff, man. But that's about it, man. Which I will say, the army of buzzes was probably my second favorite thing about the film. There's one other thing that was probably my favorite part of the film that is a massive spoiler, so I won't get into it, man. But besides that, the toy buzzes was easily the best part, man. I love those guys, man. They were so much fun as they try to like reach Star Command. So, but yeah, the toy buzzes, man, that was probably the best part of the film. That's, where I don't get into spoilers. I felt, and also the big thing with this film, man, was technology, which feels a bit late to be doing this now. Like, I feel this should have been the plot of Toy Story 4, if I'm being honest. Like, I felt that would have been made more sense doing this for Toy Story 4 rather than Toy Story 5. But hey, better late than never, I suppose. But overall, man, I thought they did a decent job of showing the whole the evils of technology, if you will, and like tablets and kids being stuck on their phones. Like, they treat this shit like damn near like it's drugs, where they'll like show Bonnie when she first gets her lily pad, and there's another scene like this with Jessie herself, where they almost get, where it looks like they get like hypnotized by the device as they just like kind of just stare at it and like tap at it mindlessly, man. And like, the movie is definitely not subtle in its commentary about devices and technology and kids' obsession and kids, always be on their phones or tablets or whatever, man. Which, to be fair, seems to have done some good with like parents, now swearing off they won't get their children tablets and turn them into iPad kids and whatnot, man, after the film had released. At least I saw some tweets about that, man, which, if that's true, man, if people are in this film did affect people that way, hey, the film did what it set out to do, so shout out to the film, I guess, for that. But I thought it did a good job with that scene, with that whole thing, man. I thought that was handled pretty well. Though, like I said, I thought it wasn't nearly as interesting as a overall main story plot compared to like 4 or like what we saw in the other films as well. Or like I said, the one thing I wish would have been the focus of this film, man, instead of technology, and technology might have been more of a subplot of it, rather than like Jessie's story becoming like the main plot of the film, man, kind of like what they did with Toy Story 4, building around Woody and Bo Peep's relationship. So yeah, also do think the running joke about Woody being old is a bit weird, considering one, like I said, like him having like a bald spot in his head. Like, okay, like it is kind of funny, but at the same time, it feels a little bit weird to be like, I'm weird. Was like, I'm not that old, even though we know Woody is a very old toy from like the 50s or something, just from Toy Story 2. Which I thought was a little bit bizarre. Like, yeah, bro, you are very old. So I feel like it's kind of weird. They're like now doing the whole old thing, man. But whatever. The jokes did give me to laugh a couple of times. To be fair, I also love the art style change they use for whenever you see Bonnie. Or where you ever see Bonnie playing with her toys, man, which we saw bits of in the trail, man. I really like the art style change for that, man. I thought that was really done, man. Those scenes were pretty cool too. I really like those scenes and like the art style change to show the imagination of a child. I thought that was really cool, which is what they ended up doing for the Steelbook release for Toy Story 5, which I really appreciate because it looks fucking amazing. Now, without getting into spoilers, man, I think that's about all the positives I can think about the film, at least off the top of my head at the current moment. For negatives, man, like I said, once again, this film does a lot of baffling things that I just thought were bizarre and out of place. This film weirdly does the thing where it feels reliant and self-referential, like relying and like calling back to old one-liners or iconic lines from previous film, which like normally that stuff doesn't bother me, while everyone else is like, oh, you know, they're relying on nostalgia or old jokes or whatever. Like that stuff never bothered me before with like movies. Typically, whenever they like rely on where they like reuse old jokes or one-liners or, you know, reference certain things. But when Toy Story has never done that at all, from like 2, 3, and 4, they've never, at least I can remember it. Maybe I'm wrong and they did do this a couple times. They've never done that. So it felt incredibly bizarre with this film. They did it like twice, I think. Or at the very least one scene near the end of it with the Buzzes, man. And like I said, they did it twice, which, to be fair, one of them, they still made me laugh and whatnot, but it still felt bizarre that they were like reusing old material like this again. Because that's just something never Toy Story has ever done before. And I just thought that was bizarre. And this one, I don't know if anyone else feels this way or this is just me. I just don't find Bonnie particularly interesting. And I just cannot get invested with her, man. Like obviously Andy and Riley from the Inside Out movies as well, to mention her as well, since she obviously serves as a similar since she has similar plot significance or a similar characterization compared to Bonnie, where they're glorified puppets for the plot. But even still, man, I don't know what it is about Bonnie. I just do not find her interesting, and I just cannot get myself really that invested in her story like I could with Andy for the first 3 films, or Riley in Inside Out 2. I don't know what it is about Bonnie. I just don't find her interesting. I just cannot get myself invested in her story, or with her in particular. I don't know what it is, man. Like I said, Andy and Riley by no means are well-written and well-rounded characters. Like Bonnie, they're glorified puppets for the plot. But I don't know what it is, man. I just cannot get myself to get invested in Bonnie's story, or to feel particularly connected to her in any sort of way. I don't know if anyone else feels this way, man, or if this is just a me thing, but I just do not find Bonnie particularly interesting compared to Andy, or hell, even Riley, like I said, in the Inside Out movies, either. I just don't know what it is, man. I just do not find her interesting. I just cannot get myself invested in her story, man. I don't know what it is, man. It's, I just can't. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, I think that's about everything I wanted to mention without obviously getting into major spoilers, man. So, overall, my final verdict for the film is going to be an 8 out of 10, man. Like I said, this is still a great movie, and this is still a great movie and everything, man. Like, by all accounts, this is not a bad movie by any stretch, but by Toy Story standards, especially given, you know, how well the Toy Story movies have been up this point, and the quality of them, especially like 2 and 3 and 4, which you guys know I also love, they end up being my favorite Toy Story film. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't tell you why. I haven't seen that film since I saw it in theaters, man, but when I checked my Letterboxd, it's my top rated one, so clearly I really like the film. But yeah, this one just did not connect with me, man. Maybe with some other people it did, But for me, it just did not connect like the way the previous films did, and this is easily the worst one, even more than Lightyear, which, to be fair, you guys know I actually really like that movie. But that's just me. Anyway, so yeah, great movie by all accounts, man, but by Toy Story standards, this definitely is the worst one, man. And it is a bit disappointing considering, Toy Story is even like when people said like, oh, this movie's so unnecessary with like 4, it still blew us all away and was like, aye, fair play, Pixar. This time's like, this movie's unnecessary, and it kind of felt that way. Which is unfortunate. Like, well, they'll probably make a Toy Story 6 anyway, because we made once again over $1 billion. And at this point, fuck it, give Bonnie her own trilogy at this point, man, and then maybe ship the toys off again to someone else for the next trilogy. I don't know, but they'll make a Toy Story 6 at some point eventually, man. Maybe then they'll be able to recapture that magic from the previous films, man. But until, man, this is still a great film, but this is easily the worst one. Now, we'll get into spoilers question with the sound guide, so if you guys do not want to get spoiled by the film, man, even worth like the tail end of its theatrical run, you still haven't seen it yet, leave. Anyway, so let's talk about let's start out with the positives, man. Let's start out positive. Easily the best part of the film, man, was Jessie and her returning to her old home and her reconnecting in a sense with Emily. This was easily the best part of the film when I saw it. When I went to see the movie, when I initially saw like the last 40 minutes of it in theaters, man, and we got the whole scene where she opened the box by the tire swing that she had, and she realized that Emily did not abandon her, she did not forget about her, and instead named her daughter after her, which is a very touching scene, man, very cute, man, and not gonna lie. Emily is kind of hot. Y'all know I got a thing for redheads, not gonna lie. When we saw MILF Emily, man, I was like, ho, hello there, nurse. Y'all know I like redheads. Y'all know I got a thing for them. But anyway, it was such an amazing scene, man, and I was like, oh. Like, that was a pleasant surprise that they actually went away. And honestly, I wish more of the movie focused it, and like that was like the main plot of Toy Story 5, instead of it dealing with like technology. Like I said, the feel that this movie is like a few years too late on this whole thing on technology. Like, this feels like this should have been the plot of 4. But regardless, this should have been the main plot of Toy Story 5, and it seemed like it was initially gonna be a major part of this film. I don't know if it was gonna be the main plot, but I remember after the film had released, I saw some tweets showing up like some deleted scenes or like cut animatics or whatever, where they're apparently gonna do more with this plot line of Jessie, in a sense, reconnecting with Emily and kind of finding more about what happened to her after she had abandoned Jessie. And I wish they kept that in the movie, man. This was easily the best part, and I wish they focused more of it, man, as we see Jessie reconnecting in a sense with Emily and learning more about what happened to her, man, and her daughter and everything, man. It was easily the best part of the movie, man, and I wish it got a bigger showcase movie rather than that one scene, like kind of like Jessie kind of like going through the house, seeing the house again, and like, reminiscing a bit on that, man. They also seem to have reanimated some of the scenes from Toy Story 2 that they reused here, instead of just reusing the Toy Story 2 footage. I'm not sure, because I haven't seen Toy Story 2 in years, but from the looks of it, man, I'm pretty sure they had reanimated that stuff rather than just recycle the Toy Story 2 footage, which I really appreciate. So I thought that was amazing, man. Like, that was the best part of the movie with Jessie and Emily, man. And I wish the movie focused more on that, especially with Jessie's story rather than the whole technology thing. Like, because that was awesome, man. And I think the movie would have been a lot better had they focused on that instead of the whole technology thing. And that was like the subplot of the film for some more social commentary thing, man. But I feel the movie would have been a lot better if they focused on Jessie reconnecting with Emily. I think the movie would have been a lot better if they had focused on that instead. But that's just me personally, man. I thought that was brilliant, man. I wish they did more with that. Because that scene was brilliant. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention, I fucking love the scenes between Blaze and Bonnie when they finally start to connect and become friends. They're super cute, they're super wholesome, man. Honestly, for Toy Story 6, whenever that movie gets made, would you ask me, they should set that movie in high school, because we've already had, like, what, 4 movies set during childhood? Yeah, 4? Yeah, 1, 2, and 4. Yeah, or 3 movies. We've already had like 3, but I don't know how movies I said. 3 movies set during childhood. We've already done college with Andy for Toy Story 3. We have not done high school yet. So I think for Toy Story 6, whenever that comes out, they should put Bonnie in high school. That's my personal opinion. And when they do, focus heavily on her friendship with Blaze, and you might actually finally get me to care about this girl. You might finally get me invested in Bonnie's story for once if you really focus on her on her friendship with Blaze, because the scenes in this movie near the end of it, man, where they finally start to play together and become friends and whatnot, man, are super wholesome, man, and I loved them. Like, I was kind of indifferent to the scenes whenever I would see them on board with the theater, but actually seeing with the context of the film, man, I really enjoyed those scenes, and I really hope for Toy Story 6, they really focus on that, man. That's like one of the main focuses of that film is Bonnie and Blaze's friendship, man. They really need to focus on that, man, for Toy Story 6. That's my personal opinion. Anyway, the other baffling thing about this film, and like I said, the movie reuses references and recycles them, like, you know, with Woody, one-liners with Woody saying, "This is flying with style," like in the first Toy Story movie, which felt bizarre and out of place considering Toy Story's never done that before, at least to what I remember. Maybe they did in 2 and 3 and 4, and I'm just forgetting. So, fair play if that was the case. There was that one, man. There's also the whole thing with Buzz and Zurg being his father, which, like I said, it did make me laugh, but they reuse it here as well as the post-credit scene as well, which I just thought was bizarre, because like I said, Toy Story just doesn't do this sort of thing typically, so it just felt bizarre that now they're starting to reuse jokes, you know, and be self-referential in its sense, man. But like I said, it just felt weird. So you have that, man. But easily the most bizarre and baffling decision was pairing Buzz and Jessie together. Now look, I don't know what this is about. This kind of reeks of some Reylo, let's please the fandom sort of thing, man, with shipping these two in the film. Because at least with Woody and Bo Peep, it made sense to build a whole movie around the relationship, because in 1 and 2, there was constant this push and pull between them, and they were always flirting. It made sense for them to do a movie built around them in 4, and to finally, you know, seal the deal. This just felt bizarre and out of place, because unless I am tripping, the films have never even hinted at anything between Buzz and Jessie, like at all. Unless I'm misremembering some scenes, I don't think I am. They never really ever played around or teased anything between those two, which makes me think this is just a popular ship in the fandom, and the directors wanted to throw them a bone, like with like whole Reylo thing in Rise of Skywalker, where they just take a ship even though it feels completely out of place in the actual films and just make it a thing anyway. Like, it just felt so weird and out of place. It kind of reminded me a lot of like when, you know, Homecoming, Peter has no interest in MJ, and then all of a sudden, in Far From Home, he's infatuated with MJ all of a sudden, when there was like, and we saw none of that in Homecoming. In Homecoming, I didn't mind because it's MJ, and I was like, it's MJ, who cares? I don't care. It's of course he's head over heels in love with her, you know? So like that made sense, and I could look past it just for my own personal biases and, you know, my knowledge of Spider-Man. But this just felt out of place and bizarre to throw this in at all. Like I said, the films up to this point, unless I am massively misremembering scenes, never did anything between Buzz and Jessie, like, at all. I mean, Tim Allen plays these scenes pretty well, man. There were a couple funny moments in there, man, but it just felt bizarre and out of place. I don't know if anyone else felt that way. Like I said, is this a popular ship in the Toy Story fandom that I'm unaware of? Man, I'm genuinely curious, because this felt so out of place and out of left field. But yeah, that's about it. All I got for you guys. Jesus Christ, this review ended up being 20 minutes. Did not think it would be that long. Oh well. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me also if you feel like it. Links to drops below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.